A simple mother kicked out of a restaurant. The owner apologized when her husband bought it. The sun burned down on the cracked sidewalk as Lila adjusted her daughter's too big hand-me-down hat, shielding the little girl's face. Mia coughed weakly, her small fingers clutching Lila's worn-out sleeve. The doctor's words from last week still echoed in Lila's mind. She needs rest, proper food, and that medicine, or her condition will get worse. But the pharmacy receipt in her pocket might as well have been a joke. $200 for a tiny bottle. The diner ahead, the Golden Plate, was supposed to be a rare treat. Just pancakes, maybe some eggs, something warm for Mia before Lila headed to her second job. The bell jingled as they stepped inside, the air thick with the smell of coffee and bacon. A few well-dressed customers glanced up, their eyes lingering a second too long on Lila's faded jeans and Mia's patched backpack. The hostess, a sharp-faced woman with a slick bun, didn't smile. "Table for two?" she asked, though her tone said, "You sure you belong here?" Lila nodded, forcing a smile. "Yes, please. Near the window, if you can." The hostess's lips thinned. "That section's reserved." She gestured toward a cramped corner table wedged beside the kitchen door, where the clatter of dishes was loud enough to drown out conversation. Lila's stomach tightened, but Mia was already dragging her toward it, too tired to notice the slight. They'd barely sat down when a waiter dropped menus in front of them without a word. Lila smoothed Mia's hair, whispering, "Get anything you want, baby." Mia's eyes lit up at the stack of chocolate pancakes on the menu, until the waiter came back, arms crossed. "Are you ordering or just looking?" Lila's face burned. "We'll have the—" "Actually," a voice cut in, "we're closing this section early for cleaning. You'll have to leave." The manager, a balding man with a name tag that read Mr. Darrow, stood over them, his smile cold. Lila's grip tightened on the menu. "But we just sat down. No one said anything about—" "Policy," he interrupted. "Unless you're paying customers." His emphasis made it clear what he thought of them. Mia's bottom lip trembled. "Mommy, I'm hungry." The other diners were staring now, some smirking, others pretending not to notice. Lila's throat closed. She fumbled for her wallet, knowing the $12 inside wouldn't cover even half the bill. "We'll go," she muttered, standing so fast her chair screeched. As they shuffled toward the door, a woman at the counter laughed into her phone. "Some people just don't get it, you know, like, read the room." The bell jingled again, but this time it wasn't Lila leaving. A tall man in a tailored suit stepped inside, his sharp gaze scanning the room before landing on her. His expression flickered, something between shock and fury. Lila froze, because the man staring at her like she'd just shattered his world wasn't just a stranger. He was her husband, the one who'd vanished 5 years ago without a word. And judging by the way Mr. Darrow suddenly paled, rushing forward with a choked, "Mr. Kensington, sir, I didn't realize—" He wasn't just back. He owned the place. Lila's breath caught in her throat as the diner fell silent. The air felt heavy, like the moment before a storm. Mia tugged her hand, confused. "Mommy, who's that man?" The man, Daniel, looked down at Mia, his face unreadable. Then his eyes locked back onto Lila, dark with something she couldn't name. Anger? Regret? Before she could react, Mr. Darrow was stammering, "Mr. Kensington? I was just—" Daniel didn't even glance at him. "You were just what?" His voice was quiet, but it carried like a blade. "Humiliating my wife and child?" A gasp rippled through the room. The woman who had laughed earlier dropped her phone with a clatter. Lila's pulse roared in her ears. Wife? After 5 years of silence, he still called her that? Mr. Darrow turned ghostly white. You're Your family? Sir, I had no idea. You didn't bother to ask, Daniel cut in. His jaw tightened as he took in Lila's worn-out clothes, Mia's too thin frame. Then, without another word, he pulled out his phone and dialed. Cancel my meeting and draft the paperwork. I'm buying this place, right now. Layla's knees nearly gave out. Buying it? Since when did Daniel have that kind of money? The last she'd seen him, he was a broke mechanic, disappearing after one final fight about bills they couldn't pay. Mia, oblivious to the tension, tugged Daniel's sleeve. Are you rich? The room held its breath. Daniel crouched to her level, his voice softening. Yeah, kid. I am. Then, quieter. Just for Lila. And I'm going to fix this. Lila wanted to scream, to demand where he'd been, to throw the past in his face. But Mia was watching, and the diner's customers were recording on their phones, already smelling a scandal. Then Daniel did the unexpected. He turned to Mr. Darrow and said, loud enough for everyone to hear, You're fired. Clean out your desk. The manager sputtered. You can't just... I own the building, Daniel said flatly. I can do whatever I want. A murmur spread through the crowd. Lila's mind spun. This wasn't the Daniel she knew. The man in front of her was colder, sharper, someone who bought restaurants on a whim. And then, as if things couldn't get worse, a sleek black car pulled up outside. A woman in a designer suit stepped out, her high heels clicking as she strode toward the door. Daniel's expression darkened. Damn it. Lila didn't need an explanation. The way the woman looked at him, like he was hers, said everything. Mia, sensing the shift, hid behind Lila's legs. Mommy, I don't like this. Neither did Lila. Because the twist wasn't just that Daniel was back. It was that he wasn't alone. And whatever game he was playing, she and Mia were already caught in the middle. Lila instinctively pulled Mia closer as the woman entered the diner, her sharp eyes scanning the room before landing on Daniel. A tight, practiced smile stretched across her lips. Daniel, darling, you were supposed to meet me at the office 10 minutes ago. Her gaze flicked to Lila, lingering just a second too long. And who is this? Daniel's jaw clenched. Not now, Evelyn. Evelyn's perfectly sculpted eyebrow arched. Oh, I wasn't aware we had other business partners to entertain. The way she said it made it clear she knew exactly who Lila was, or at least what she used to be to Daniel. Mia peeked out from behind Lila's legs, her small voice cutting through the tension. Mommy, why is that lady mad at us? Evelyn's smile turned icy. How adorable. Lila felt something inside her snap. She wasn't about to let some stranger make her daughter feel like an inconvenience. Stepping forward, she met Evelyn's gaze head-on. We were just leaving. Daniel moved between them, his voice low. Lila, wait. No, she hissed. You don't get to disappear for 5 years and then suddenly show up playing hero. We don't need your help. The customers were openly staring now, phones still recording. A few whispers cut through the silence. Did you hear that? He just left them? Evelyn cleared her throat, smooth as polished glass. Daniel, the investors are waiting. This little reunion can wait. Daniel didn't look at her. Instead, he pulled a business card from his pocket and pressed it into Lila's hand. Take this. It's got my number. A bank card. Just use it. For Mia. Lila stared at the embossed letters. Kensington Holdings. Her stomach twisted. Since when was his last name in a company? Since when did he have investors? Mia tugged her sleeve again. Mommy, can we please go? Lila swallowed hard and shoved the card back at him. We don't want your money. Daniel's expression darkened. Then what do you want? The question hung in the air. Lila didn't have an answer, not one she could say out loud, not here, not like this. Before she could respond, Evelyn's phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen, then smirked. Well, this is awkward. The press just picked up the story. Seems your little scene is already trending. She held up her phone, showing a live news headline. Millionaire CEO humiliates staff over mystery woman and child. Daniel's face went rigid. Lila's blood ran cold. The last thing she needed was her, and Mia's faces splashed across the internet. She grabbed Mia's hand and bolted for the door. But Daniel was faster. He caught her arm, his grip firm, but not rough. Lila, stop. You don't understand what's happening. She wrenched free. Oh, I understand perfectly. You left. You came back rich. And now you're making things worse. Mia started to cry. That was it. Lila scooped her up and pushed past Daniel, past Evelyn, past the gawking crowd. The diner door slammed behind them as they spilled back onto the sidewalk. But the nightmare wasn't over. Because parked right behind them was a news van, cameras already rolling. And standing beside it, a social worker holding a file with Mia's name on it. Ms. Carter? The woman said, her voice too calm. We need to talk. Lila's heart stopped. How did they find us so fast? Lila's grip on Mia tightened as the social worker stepped forward, her expression unreadable. The news crew hovered behind her, cameras hungry for drama. Mia buried her face in Lila's shoulder, her small body trembling. Ms. Carter, the woman repeated, holding up the file. We've received a concerning report about Mia's medical care, or lack thereof. Lila's blood turned to ice. What? The social worker's gaze flicked to the diner, where Daniel was now storming out, Evelyn trailing behind him. The call mentioned neglect, failure to provide proper treatment for her condition. Lila's mind raced. Who would? Then she saw it. Evelyn's smirk. The way her manicured fingers subtly tucked her phone back into her pocket. She did this. Daniel reached them first, his voice sharp. What's going on here? The social worker straightened. Sir, this is a private matter between... She's my daughter, Daniel snapped. The social worker blinked, thrown. Mia lifted her head, confused. Daddy? The word hit Lila like a punch. Mia didn't even remember him. She'd been barely 2 when he left. But somehow, she knew. Evelyn's polished facade cracked. Daniel, don't be ridiculous. You can't just... Try me, he growled. Then, to the social worker, you want to talk about neglect? Let's talk about how my wife has been raising our kid alone for 5 years while I was gone. Let's talk about the hospital bills she's drowning in because our healthcare system is broken. He stepped closer, his voice dropping. Or we can talk about who really made that call and what happens when I sue for defamation. The social worker paled. The news crew, sensing the shift, lowered their cameras slightly. Lila could barely breathe. This wasn't happening. None of this was supposed to happen. She just wanted pancakes. Then Mia coughed, a wet, ragged sound that left her gasping. Lila's panic spiked. Baby? Mia? Daniel's anger vanished. He reached for her, but Lila jerked back. Don't touch her. Lila, she needs a hospital. And whose fault is that? She choked out. The social worker hesitated, then made her decision. I'm calling an ambulance. Evelyn stepped forward, all fake concern. Daniel, this is getting out of hand. Let the professionals handle it. Daniel didn't even look at her. Get out. What? You heard me. You're done. For the first time, Evelyn looked genuinely shaken. You can't. I just did. Sirens wailed in the distance. Lila rocked Mia, whispering nonsense promises. It's okay, baby. Just hold on. But her hands were shaking. Daniel turned to her, his voice raw. "Let me help. Please." Lila wanted to hate him. She did hate him. But Mia's lips were turning blue, so she nodded. And as the ambulance screeched to a halt, one thought burned in her mind. This isn't over. Not by a long shot. The paramedics rushed Mia into the ambulance, Lila climbing in after her with Daniel close behind. The social worker tried to follow, but Daniel shot her a look that made her step back. "We'll discuss this later," he said, his voice leaving no room for argument. As the doors slammed shut and the ambulance took off, Lila focused only on Mia, her shallow breaths, the way her tiny fingers clutched at the blanket. The paramedic adjusted the oxygen mask over her face, his expression tight. "Her oxygen levels are low. We need to move fast." Lila's throat closed up. This was her worst fear, watching her baby struggle to breathe, helpless to do anything. Daniel's hand brushed her shoulder. "She's going to be okay." Lila jerked away. "You don't know that." The silence between them was heavy, filled with everything unsaid. 5 years. 5 years of no calls, no letters, nothing. And now he was here, acting like he had the right to comfort her. The ambulance screeched to a stop outside the emergency room. Doctors swarmed Mia, wheeling her away before Lila could even process what was happening. She stumbled after them, but a nurse stopped her at the doors. "They need to stabilize her first. You can wait here." Lila's legs gave out. She sank into a plastic chair, her hands shaking. Daniel sat beside her, his voice low. "Lila, don't." She couldn't handle his excuses. "Not now. Just tell me one thing. Where the hell have you been?" He hesitated, then pulled out his phone and opened a news article. The headline made her stomach drop. "Tech billionaire Daniel Kensington, revealed as secret backer of major health care reform bill." Lila stared at the photo beneath it. Daniel in a sharp suit, shaking hands with politicians. The date was from 3 years ago. "You... what?" Daniel's jaw tightened. "I didn't plan for any of this. After I left, "You left," Lila cut in, her voice trembling. "You walked out and never looked back." "I couldn't look back," he snapped, then lowered his voice when a nurse glanced over. "I got mixed up in something bad, Lila. The kind of bad that gets people killed. I had to disappear, for both your sakes." Lila wanted to laugh. Was that supposed to make it better? So what? You struck it rich, and suddenly it's safe to come back? I came back because I found out about Mia's condition. Because I finally had the resources to help. His voice cracked. "I didn't know how bad it was until today." Lila opened her mouth to fire back, but then the doors swung open. A doctor approached, his expression unreadable. "Ms. Carter, we need to talk about Mia's treatment options." Daniel stood. "What's the verdict?" The doctor hesitated. "It's advanced. She needs a specialized procedure, one that isn't covered by standard insurance." Lila's heart sank. She knew where this was going. Daniel didn't flinch. "Do whatever she needs. Money isn't an issue." The doctor nodded, relieved. "Good. Because there's something else." He lowered his voice. "The test results just came back. Mia's condition. It's genetic, which means one of you is likely a carrier." Lila froze. "Genetic?" Daniel went very still. "Meaning what, exactly?" The doctor's next words sent a chill down Lila's spine. "Meaning this didn't come from nowhere. And if we don't figure out where it came from, it could get worse." Lila's mind raced. If this was genetic, then whose family was hiding what? And why did Daniel look like he already knew the answer? Lila's nails dug into her palms as she stared at Daniel. "You're hiding something," The doctor glanced between them, uncomfortable. I'll give you two a moment, but we need decisions fast. Mia's condition is deteriorating. The second he walked away, Lila grabbed Daniel's arm. Talk. Now. Daniel's expression darkened. He pulled her into an empty hallway, away from prying ears. My family has a history of rare blood disorders. My father died from complications when I was 12. I didn't know it could be passed down, not until I got my own diagnosis 5 years ago. Lila's breath caught. What? That's why I left, he said, voice rough. I was sick, Lila, dying, and the only treatment was experimental, overseas, expensive, no guarantees. I couldn't drag you and Mia into that. Lila felt like the ground had vanished beneath her. All this time, she'd thought he'd abandoned them. But he'd been sick? You should have told me, she whispered. I wanted to. His hand trembled as he ran it through his hair. But the people backing the treatment had conditions. No contact, no loose ends. If I walked away, the funding disappeared. Lila's mind raced. And now I own the damn company that funded it. A bitter laugh escaped him. Turns out, surviving makes you valuable. I spent the last 3 years buying out every shareholder who ever held a leash on me. A door slammed nearby, making them both jump. Evelyn stood there, her perfect composure cracked. Daniel, we have a problem. She thrust a tablet at him, live footage of news vans swarming the hospital entrance. The chyron read, Billionaire's secret family. Sparks scandal. Whistleblower claims Kensington med tech cover-up. Daniel's face went pale. Lila snatched the tablet. What cover-up? Evelyn's smile was razor-thin. Oh, you didn't know? The experimental treatment that saved Daniel's life? It killed half the trial patients, and the files proving it were buried. The air left Lila's lungs, Mia's condition, the genetic link, the treatment. Daniel grabbed Evelyn's wrist. You did this. You leaked it. Of course I did. She yanked free. You really thought you could humiliate me in front of the press and walk away? Now the whole world knows the truth. Your miracle cure is a death sentence. She turned to Lila, eyes gleaming. And your daughter's next. Lila moved before she could think. Her fist connected with Evelyn's jaw, sending the woman crashing into a cart of medical supplies. Touch my child, and I'll end you. Alarms blared. Security rushed in. Daniel pulled Lila back as Evelyn spat blood, laughing. Too late. The media already has the story. And guess who they'll blame when the lawsuits start? A nurse burst into the hall, frantic. Ms. Carter, Mia's crashing. She needs the procedure immediately. Lila's vision tunneled. The treatment could kill Mia. But without it, Daniel gripped her shoulders. Listen to me. The original trial was flawed, but I fixed it. The version I developed is safe. But Evelyn's right. Once this goes public, the hospital won't risk using it. Lila's voice broke. So what do we do? Daniel's phone buzzed. A text lit up the screen. Private jet on standby. Lab in Switzerland ready. 4-hour window before FDA freezes your assets. He looked at Lila, dead serious. We run,